Ginger's Man Club contains offensive language, adult themes, and life stories. If you are offended by any of these, please don't continue. Press the stop button. If you do continue, we can't be held responsible. We did warn you. Hi, and welcome to Ginger's Man Club, where Adam and Daniel talk about life issues, past memories, and Daniel mentioning breasts a lot. Join us with a choice of beverage as we discuss the issues that mean the most, to us anyway. Interact with us on the usual socials, and this is not filmed in front of a live studio audience, unless of course you count Adam's pet chicken, Gerald. Enjoy the show. What a start. Welcome everybody. What a start. Sat there as the countdown goes, he goes, you can introduce this one when he can visually see I've got a cup of tea in my hand.
Yeah,
Bloody
why
hell.
not? That's what it's all about, you know, sharing the love, sharing the love. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Good evening.
Oh, well, it's three's a crowd. Third episode now.
Three's a crowd when there's only two.
I know.
So yeah. How have you been?
Yeah, not too bad. You've certainly had an eventful day compared to my eventful days. So yours was more eventful. So you led with that last week, saying, you know, how eventful is your day? I did explain. So it's your turn to lead. How eventful was your day?
I've been training. Yesterday. I've got my last bit tomorrow. I'm doing my level 4 in electric vehicles, so I'm licensed to shock myself and potentially kill myself now because I've passed an exam.
Is that with a Chinese brand of buses by any chance? Yutong? Is it Yutong?
It is, yes. That's who we've done it with. Yes, Yutong.
Yeah.
Obviously
I know everything.
There are other. Yeah, we don't have a pre-show or anything. There are obviously other Chinese versions of bus available, as well as other manufacturers of buses. But yes,
if you'd been in America, you wouldn't have been doing any Chinese buses because they don't allow that. But we're not going to go political just yet.
I was going to say, wasn't that just TikTok? Aren't they allowed to have? Do you know what? Now you've said it, I generally don't know. I'll have to look at that, see if there's any Yutongs, King Longs, and what's the other BYDs over in. I don't think we've got any Ting Tongs.
No Ting Tong. No ping pongs from Ting Tong.
Do you know what? I sat there thinking about that, and I was just thinking it's Ting Ting, innit? It was that girl that flipping sung that song. I think it went Ting Ting. Oh, I don't know. And do you know what? It's on BeatStart, and I've actually played it on BeatStart, and it's a girl that I never understood. Oh, it's that one where she goes, they call me this, they call me Stacy.
Oh, yeah.
This.
Another one.
The Ting Tings, there you go.
Is it Ting Tings?
It is Ting Tings, yeah, there you go. So the brain kicked in, and they were 2.5 minutes in, and if you ain't switched off, you deserve a fucking medal.
Yes, there is no filter on this channel, or on this podcast even. So we do say it as it is. So if it is your first time listening in, welcome. If it's your third time listening in to the third episode, then congratulations for getting this far.
So, yeah, and you've probably realised we've sorted the mic issue out.
Yes. And we're global. And we're global.
Yeah, well, according to Spotify, we are. Yeah. The fact that we're only on like two. I think we're on Amazon and we're on Spotify. I haven't done YouTube yet. I wouldn't even know what to do with that. And there are obviously other podcasts available. Apple's another one, but I was reading about it all. And apparently YouTube is the number 1, Spotify number 2, Apple somewhere at about 5th.
Yes.
So congratulations, Apple. Well done.
It's all good. It's all good. So as I say, it's good. It's good.
Actually, I'll tell you what though, I have been, because obviously I do a lot of driving, and I have been listening to. I'm sure there's plenty of people that listen to something called Brook and Jubal in the morning, where they do like the second day update, and Awkward Tuesday thing. And you know what? If we had a fair amount of listeners, I wouldn't mind actually doing that. The idea of that is absolutely fantastic. And some of the things that they have to put up with, I don't know how they look them loud and air. The only thing you don't have is that bloke in the background that just consistently has this weird laugh. Um,
Well,
so yeah,
we've got some friends that have got weird laughs, but he's not about, is he? Our dear friend Craig.
no, I haven't told him. And you know what? We'll have to do a guest one for him.
Yes, yeah,
We'll have to see. If we can pull some guest speakers in. We'll have to see. We'll have to have a chat with Mr. Craig about potentially joining us and then calling us all babies and fucktards and all sorts.
yeah.
So
I mean, yeah. I mean, we've got no filter, but Craig's got no filter. There is no filter with him.
How do you have no filter and then have no filter when you haven't got a
Yeah, but
filter at all?
he just goes beyond, doesn't he?
Yes, well,
You know, well, we say no filter. We're there is a slight filter with us, but no, not Craig. He'll just hammer straight through as he does.
well, fair play. So yes, so it's been an interesting week since our last podcast. Obviously, we've looked at the Spotify for Creators app that you can get. Seeing that we had like some people from Germany. I mean, for God's sake, you know, are you having me on? Are you having me on? Anyway, I'll tell you what though. I actually got political with. I was in a taxi yesterday. I don't go in taxis very often, but I had to go and go get a van for its service. And I jumped in the taxi and I spoke to this lovely Somalian man who was the taxi driver, and he was. You know what I have to say? There's still we spoke about a couple of podcasts ago the children scenario and how some don't respect their adults because of the way that society has changed here in the
Yes.
UK. And it was a really interesting conversation to have with an African because they see things so differently, and they look at us and they must think we are absolute fucking idiots. And the worst part about it is they're not wrong.
No,
And when you sit there, I mean, say when I was a kid, I was scared of my parents, not because I knew they were going to beat me for fun, but because I probably deserved it. And I know, oh, here we go. The woke people will look at that and go, "Did you deserve to be beaten?" No, I did wrong. I needed to be punished. And clearly, me setting on the naughty step, going, "That's not very good now, is it?" Clearly, wasn't going to do it for me. So I'd have to get smack bottom, smack arm, and all that. When you associate with it with pain, as I did, it was the way I ended up reacting to it. You go, "Do I really want to get hurt?" No,
yeah,
so let's
yeah,
not
yeah.
do that. But they, the respect that their children have for, especially their mums, especially their mums, was something that I really enjoyed talking to him about, because now obviously you get these youngsters that aren't even scared of the police. When I was a kid, if you saw a policeman coming towards you, you ran the other bloody way,
Yeah.
and that's even if you did nothing wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, policing was totally different then. I mean, they weren't scared of repercussions because they knew they were within the law. Even now, they might be within the law, but they still it's a blame culture. It's claim claim where they can, and
No,
that's what they're more afraid of.
where there's a blame, there's a blame.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's yeah. Christ, 8 minutes in and now we're talking about flipping that. Yeah, I know. Honestly, going back to that taxi drive, it was a really, really interesting conversation of the different outlooks. Although we both stand for the same thing, we both stand for the respect for your elders and knowing that your grandparents were those that were like, oh, don't upset your grandparents. Now we've got this scenario where you've got people that just don't give a shit. There's no repercussion on what they do. I mean, we had a van broken into last this week, because obviously it wasn't reported on
Yeah,
Live
it was.
Talk. But
Yeah.
yeah, we had a attempted break-in, and do you know what? Coppers did nothing, absolutely
Right.
nothing. And you know
So
what?
now,
All
if you
right, nothing.
if you said something on Facebook though, it would have been. I mean, there's a video going around that somebody did something on Facebook and the police turned up.
Oh, blimey.
It was in Wales. That was, yeah.
Yeah, oh, well, there you go. Didn't turn up in bloody Sheffield, though, did they? You know, and it was the damage. I mean, the damage, man. I mean, you know, the damage cost is extortionate. It's extortionate, and you know, and I mean, you know, you could then turn around and say, well, maybe that's because we don't have any tradesmen anymore. But that's a different story. But you know, to get that repaired, you know, you don't. Well, it wasn't. It's not going to be repaired. It needs 2 new doors. So you know, it's really upsetting that. And the police just say, here's a crime reference number, claim through your insurance, and we wonder why our insurances are going through the fucking roof. Because you got even the cop was going, yeah, I ain't got time for that, mate. Yeah, I just stick it for your insurance, you'll be all right. All right, okay. And what? Raise my premiums for the next year, the next 5 to 10 years. Great, thanks, mate. And we're not going to catch a little fucktard that needs his hands chopping off for trying to rob into a van that weren't his.
As I say, that's the society we're in now. You know, is it a case that the police can't be bothered, or are they, you know, are they afraid that if they do find the person that's done it, again, as I say, you know, are they going to get a claim put against them, you know, for being arrested for doing a crime?
Looks like
You
get
know,
away.
so
What was it someone said the other day? I was listening to something on YouTube, and they said if you can do any damage up to 200 quid,
yeah.
and they won't even batter an eyelid. So I might have to put that to a test. I might have to walk into a shop and nick a £1.10 version of a Yorkie bar and see if I get reprimanded. I probably would. Probably because
Well, I
I'm.
mean, you could walk around the shop, eat whatever off the shelf, you know, in a supermarket chain. I won't use names, but providing
Why
that you
not?
don't walk out. Well, all right then. Asda
First
then.
week
We'll
we
go with,
first week we managed to go through all 5.
yeah. All right, Asda for example, but other stores are available. You know, you could eat something off the shelf, providing you hold that wrapper still, and then you get to the checkout and you pay for it. Nothing you can do.
Oh
There's
yeah,
nothing like, well, you know, so you know, it's that culture, you know. But then you wouldn't go around, wipe your ass on toilet paper and say, "Oh, I'm going to carry that around for me for the next 20 minutes while you walk around the shop because you wiped your ass on it."
so
You know
why
what I
you
mean?
curling one out in aisle 5? You sat there with your cakes down by your ankles, curling one out on aisle 5 with an Andrex out. just borrowing this, mate. There's a thought in it.
Yeah.
Clean
There's
up
a
on aisle 5.
hang on, I see a pooper scooper in aisle 3 in the pet section. I'll just use
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
You
Yeah,
know, say, you know, but you know, it's weird, you know, how society has gone. You know, we wouldn't have done that, you know, 10, 15 years, you know, well, probably a bit more than 10, 15 years ago,
I'm
because you
pretty
respect,
confident. I'm
yeah,
pretty confident people wouldn't have curled one out in aisle 5. To be
yeah. Well, it's questionable, isn't it? There are people out
well,
there that, you know,
yeah. All right, fair call.
you know, so, but it's just, it's a weird society. You just can't do things right, and you can't, you know, and even if you do things wrong, it doesn't matter. And say you commit a crime, yeah, right, there's a slap on the wrist, off you go. But then, you know, as I say, going back to, you know, you make a comment on Facebook, on Twitter or X, bang, you know, they're straight on your door. You can't say this, you can't do that, and it's just like, well, hang on a second,
What about my van?
yeah, you know, it's not a case of obviously that's, you know, that your van's been broken into. It's, you know, it's a case of, right, yeah, my van's been broken into. It's going to cost me X amount. It's now put a vehicle out of action for X amount a month or whatever. You know, it's that repercussion because of one person that just can't keep their hands off of other people's stuff. You know, if it was just a general van and it was just 2 doors, you know, yeah, it's still going to cost you, but it's not going to cost you as much. But because obviously yours is, you know, it's all sign written or vinyled, that's an extra cost on top. So, you know, it's all them add-ons. It's not just a case of, well, I can go down the scrapyard and pick up 2 doors for 60 quid. You know, it's the case of you got to get
Fucking hell, what scrapyard are you going to?
well,
If you could let me know, I'm going to go pick up some doors.
well, scrapyards from like 30 odd years ago. But yeah, as I say, it's, you know, it's that time and effort that you've got to put in to get that vehicle back on the road. And in that time, that little scrote's off doing another 40, you know, 30 odd motors, you know, and putting them out of action.
Looking at the situation, I think the engineer in question did actually say that there was another one across the road, so that they'd gone into, and yeah, I mean, you know, the safety systems in the vans are really, really good. The problem is they'll stop and get them into a point. Obviously, if somebody wants to get into a vehicle, whether it be a van, car, truck, bus, coach, if they want to get in, they'll get in, and there is nothing that you can do about it. You know, you can put as many obstacles in their way, but if they want to get in, they'll get in, and it don't matter what you do. So yeah, it was a bit of a crap one for that, but yeah, as I said, it's a fair amount of damage. It's a fair amount of damage. But yeah, so we've had that shitty situation, you know, at work, and as I said, I'm now trying not to put my tongue on some batteries to see if they sizzle or not. You know,
Yeah, it's a bit different from putting your tongue on a 9-volt battery to what you work with.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, yeah, it's
a lithium battery, you know.
Yeah. So yes, that's what I've been up to for the start of this week. I've got my last day tomorrow, and then I'm qualified to play with electric vehicles. Which, you know what, they keep telling me is the future. Do I believe it? No, I don't. I don't. My situation with electric vehicles is, listen, mate, we can't even put the fucking kettle on and then in a match at half time for England, and the grid is on its fucking knees. Do you honestly think it's going to cope with a load of fucking cars and buses and all that? No, it's not. It's not built for this. No matter how many times they dig up the road to fucking put bigger not pipes, it's bloody wires. And I'm an electrician. You know, you put in bigger cables in, and it's not going to do anything. Which brings me on to another gripe. Why not fucking do the road once? Get British Gas down, get the telecom people down, get the electricity people, get the sewage people down, all do it up fucking once, right? And then just cover the road, and we don't have to wait in traffic again because someone's gone 3 weeks later. We need that bit of road up again.
That same patch, isn't it? Have you seen that they've had a sinkhole appear up near Hebden Bridge, and it's Yorkshire's largest sinkhole. Apparently, it just appeared in the middle of a street. An old pipe work collapsed, and it's created a sinkhole, and it's become sort of a bit of a tourist attraction up near Hebden Bridge. You've not seen it?
Sorry, I'm thinking of Dunsford Bridge, which is where the start of the River Don is, and that's why I'm sat there. Yeah, Don direction. Yeah. Which is actually a really fabulous walk, by the way. It's on the Trans-Pennine Trail. No, I wasn't aware that Hebden Bridge was deciding to sink itself.
No, it's a lovely area.
There's a joke there, and I'm not going to it because I'll get told off. So
you won't be able to dig yourself out of it.
Well, no, not if the person that made the hole in the first place is that large. Damn, there it goes. So yeah, it's so yeah, Hebden Bridge. I'm sure that's near Sheffield.
It's a bit it's past Leeds, heading up towards I can't even think. I'm just getting my bearings straight here. I don't know why I'm looking in Birmingham. Totally wrong direction. Probably sort of Bradford area, Halifax. Well, it's past Halifax. It's Hebden Bridge.
Fair enough.
Looking actually, I'm looking on the map at the minute. It's still closed actually. On Halifax Road, the A646 is still shut. So yes, it's obviously causing a bit of problem.
There's a traffic report. Traffic report dedicated by two guys nowhere near the area, just dedicating that Google's turned around and went, the 646 is shut due to some fat lad falling over and creating the sinkhole.
Not far from Todmorden. There we go.
Oh yeah, well I know where that is.
So
yes, have you? Do you know what is actually really interesting? And this is a really interesting thing at the moment. And Parade of Planets this month, and next month is the big one. Where you've got, at the moment, I've got Jupiter sat right above my head. Mars is somewhere over near my streetlight.
And Uranus.
Somewhere near the. I think it's actually near Jupiter. I could be. Well, listen. We're gonna have all the astronomers ringing up now, messages and
Talking about
was it
Uranus.
Twitter? Yeah, that's it. We're going to be talking about Uranus, um, and telling me no, it doesn't go there. It goes elsewhere. Listen, mate, I'm not an astronomer. I'm not going to claim I'm an astronomer, but I do like looking at the planets through a set of binoculars. So yeah, it's definitely been a really interesting time. I never expected to see them all in a line, so to speak. I mean, Neptune is out there, Uranus is out there, Mercury joins about February, I think, and then disappears again because it's going around the sun so quick. It's going yee wee. It comes back, and, you know. So it's 88 days, isn't it? It does 88 days to do a trip around the sun. But we're going to get that wrong as well. Someone's going to come back. Actually, no, it's not. It's 88 and a half.
Sticking with the space theme, actually, I don't know if you've been watching the recent updates with Blue Origin with the Jeff Bezos rocket. He finally sent his first rocket up, not the one that looked like a giant penis, but the other one.
Most rockets look like giant penises.
Yes, but his new one, obviously, the first stage didn't make it back in one piece. There's investigation on that. But obviously, SpaceX and Starship, obviously, they've done their 7th flight of this Starship, and they've caught the booster for the second time, which is unbelievable. It's clever technology, but obviously they lost the first stage. I mean, what do you reckon? Do you think we'll be occupying Mars before our time is up?
Well, for a start, Mars needs to be actually habitable. And no, I mean, as you say, I'm 41. You're a bit more.
Thanks.
And
Bastard.
do I genuinely believe we're going to see that in 30 years? No, I don't.
Yeah. What about being back on the moon, though, or if they actually went on the moon?
Do you know what? Do you know, with all the technology we got, you'd have thought we'd have made it to the moon. And you know what? What we need is one of those really, really good telescopes to stare at the moon and search for that fucking flag, and then we'll know, right?
Yeah. Well, we've got telescopes that can do that. So why haven't?
I know. Why would you do that?
Why can't there be definitive proof that there is a flag up there and part of the lunar lander that should still be there? But I heard a conspiracy theory saying that the moon isn't a moon; it's actually a satellite that's come from another planet and it's spying on us, and it can disappear at any time, but it's just there because it wants to catch. Yeah, some of these people, the Earth is flat, the moon's a satellite. Apparently, there's like an alien spaceship that's been out there for God knows how long. It's like, yeah, all right, okay.
Yeah, that's called the International Space Station.
Yeah, which hasn't got much time left either. So, but yeah, I mean, space is, it's a vast area. I'd like to, to say it would have been nice to sort of that we had spaceships that like Star Trek and Star Wars by now, but it's just not possible. So that you watch the classic Star Treks and stuff like that, and it's like, what year did they complete it? It's like 2031 or I don't know. But it's madness that we haven't come up with that sort of technology to be able to travel through space a lot more. And it just seems it's a very redundant thing at the minute. It's send up a few rockets for satellites and that's it. Why haven't we done more in the way of space travel than what is available to us? We can fly across the world in a jumbo jet, but going to space is a totally different thing altogether.
I mean, next thing you'll be telling me, I'm surprised you didn't mention Red Dwarf in that.
Yes,
that'd
just be a smeg thing to do, wouldn't it?
I mean, you talk about Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever, which one it was. Obviously, my knowledge of those programs is absolutely shocking. But you said that they filmed that in 2031.
Yeah, right? I think it was something like that. Yeah.
Well, look, if that's the case, look at the Jetsons.
Oh yeah.
Right. Apparently, whenever I think Jetsons is about now, give or take.
Yeah.
We were meant to be in flying cars,
Well,
mate.
well, yeah, there is flying cars out there.
mate. We can't even sort out our flipping AdBlue issues, where we're using sheep's piss to sort out our flipping nitrous oxide levels. Right? I'm not being funny. They had some high hopes for us lot, and we epically failed. Yeah.
Well, we've got robots. I suppose that's a start.
Well, it's not exactly well, they had robots.
Yeah, no. So they've got part of it, right?
I
But
just
there
love the
was.
fact, right? Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, right?
Go on.
You talk about us making robots. What's the thing we've done with those robots? What's the very first thing we've said about a robot?
Go on.
Let's try and shag it. Right?
Well,
Let's not talk about like, that robot could be built to serve. The first thing us humans do is we stick some fucking rubber over it, make it look human, and see if we can shag it.
You've got a point there. Yeah.
Right? And then you look at these other things, like they've come up with this AI shit, right? And the first people said, let's make an AI friend. Brilliant, let's make an AI friend. Do you want to have sex? What? No! You don't even exist.
As Lee Evans once said in one of his shows, he said, the internet, it's got Tourette's. He says, no matter what you put in Google or other search engines, it all relates back to sex. He says, like, cabbages. See the man shove a cabbage up his arse, or, and shit like that. And it just is. It's, the internet is basically got Tourette's. Whatever you put in, a search bar, you can guarantee it's going to come back to porn.
Oh, absolutely. You'll never search and find blue waffle and actually find a blue waffle. Don't do it before any of you listening to this. Don't do it.
We all did it at school.
Don't look up blue waffle, right?
What was the other one? Shit City. That was the other one we looked up in school.
Oh, God. And 2 girls, 1 cup.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, don't. People don't do it. It's not worth it. You'll only reignite their page up and give them some more money.
Debbie Does Dallas.
All right, yeah.
Animal Farm. Should we just go through the list now?
Jesus Christ.
We didn't lead sheltered lives, did we, as kids at secondary school?
Jesus Christ.
When we said, right, you can go in the IT
on a
suite.
phone. We didn't even have access to this shit on a phone. We actually found it other ways.
Yeah.
I don't even know how. You sat there
on a whack phone.
Yeah, we had a Nokia 5110, which is probably still charged, with the length of time that it took to fucking die. Honestly, Jesus Christ, the internet. We found out the best thing to do with the internet is basically make it to look at more boobs and bums, right? And that is basically what the internet is there for. We just can't get enough of the Sunday Sport or Playboy, so let's stick it all on a page on a computer so everybody can see what you're reading. Especially if you've got your PC next to a window.
Oh dear, there's a pun there, isn't there? We grew up in the days of teletext. Days there flicking through teletext, checking the weather.
And Oracle.
Yeah. Oh, look, what's the weather? Oh, hang on, we'll wait for that page to come around again. Hang on. I like that holiday. Oh no, we'll wait for that one to come back round again.
Yeah.
And it was teletext was like the early internet, and it's still used today for something else now. It's got another use as the signal through teletext.
Fucking Bamboozle on Channel 4 was an absolute great quiz show where you had to press the red, yellow, green, and blue button at the bottom of your remote to guess the answer to the question. And he either looked at you really disappointed or you did really well. And when he looked at you disappointed, you felt shit because it's like this old man staring at you in yellow. Telling you that you're no good at answering the question. And the worst part is they didn't go you back to that question. They sent you all the way back to the fucking start. Yeah. And you had to remember what the answers were to go all the way through. Same questions.
There were some good games on Sky, weren't there, when you used to press the button for the game.
You were on about the Bumblebee one, aren't you?
Bumblebee game, yeah. There was that one. Yeah. But we had good times with what we had on on TVs and stuff like that. And as I say, it's all sort of changed now. And what was the other game we used to play on the PC at school? Spank the Monkey. You used to have to drag the mouse and whack this monkey in. It used to.
I thought you were going to be. I thought you were going to be really good and mention something like Encarta 95, where they had a game in the encyclopedia.
Oh yeah, there was that as well.
and you've just gone down and gone spank the monkey, right?
Spank the monkey. Yeah, why not?
Because that has so many different meanings to what it actually is.
Right. Anyone? Well, those that are listening, Google search "spank the monkey" game, and you'll see what I'm on about. It's you got to flick the
Adventure to
mouse and to make this white hand, spank this monkey and launch it into different speeds. And if you got it good, you got some good. Hang on, I'm going to see if it works on a mobile phone. Hang on. While I'm searching, Dan's going to give you some useful information.
What about you spanking a monkey? I'm sorry, my information on that is quite limited. Have I actually filled that space in time for you to find it?
I have. I found it. Right.
Shitting hell.
Right. Hang on. Right. I'm going to bring the audio up on my phone. So is this going to?
Why need you?
Oh, there you go. See,
oh, hello.
Got some quite funky music. So I don't know whether it's going to work on a phone, but so it just said that I spanked it at 20 mile an hour. Yeah. There you go. 186, but it won't quick enough. 121. Yeah. So if you could see what I'm actually doing on the webcam. 280 mile an hour, spank that monkey, and that was a highlight in school, and that's enough of that one. But that that's the sort of shit that we got up to, and
I'm fucking speechless. I never did that.
You're going to play it when we get off this podcast. I'm going to
no,
send
I'm
you
really
the link.
not.
I'm going to send you the link.
I can't think of anything worse than spanking a monkey. Honest to God, right? I can't believe that you've just openly admitted, even though I've had my failings so far, right? You've openly admitted that you've openly spanked a monkey, and you've done it. I don't know how you've done it. The first one was 20 mile an hour, and then you jumped to 140. I mean, like, wow!
You've got it real good.
You got. All right, like, don't say it like that, right? Okay, we don't promote any sort of violence to animals here.
Oh dear!
Fuck's sake!
Third one in, and it just got to this now. Talking of spanking a monkey.
I can't believe you even just played that. You just played that on air, right?
Why not?
But you can't do that at Humberside Radio or Humber Wave Radio. So it's Humberside, isn't it?
Well, I could play the song. It'd just be at my showtime because it's not a local song. So I could play that music in the background. Good times. Oh yes, yeah. I don't know the words. I'm not a singer.
We
all have good. Yeah,
it could be that. Yeah. I'm not singing online. I'm not singing online. There's enough videos of me doing stupid things. I've got enough videos of me doing stupid things online. That's enough.
Yeah. Well, we'll indulge in that a bit more later as the shows progress. Yeah.
No, we won't. We'll leave that one alone.
We've talked about obviously the shenanigans that we got up to on hockey trips, which at times were questionable. As his phone goes off in the background. See, there's, I've put mine on silent. That's just.
Sorry. Do you know what though? Someone wants to send me a message, which is really nice to know, and I'd like to point out. Oh, right, okay. Hey, random as fuck, but you down to collab for some OnlyFans content? I think we're close by, but I'm leaving next week. HMU, don't know what that means. On my main Instagram, I'm deleting this account soon. Lol, I'm not saying that out loud because I don't want other people knowing who it is. So
would that be Craig?
I hope not. Well, considering that the girl's actually nowhere near me, she's got this very, very well. She can narn us, right? I'm not interested in things like that. If they want to see OnlyFans.
You're talking about me and spanking the monkey, and there's you getting your OnlyFans straight in.
Seem to have just lowered the tone there somehow.
Yeah. Exactly.
And anyway, I can fucking guarantee I ain't getting paid for that. She'll probably get some right OnlyFans deals, Benny, and all that subscribers. And what am I getting out of it?
She must have listened to the earlier podcast about your being gigolo.
Mate, if she, yeah, she she's got this idea in her head that people are going to want to look at me. Well, she's clearly not seen the photos of me very well, is she? I'm a fat, overweight
I'm clearly
bastard.
looking at you now.
Oh yeah, I mean, on this one we're visually looking at each other, and I've had to watch you spank a monkey, right? And I, that I'm just putting that on silent now, actually, because you've said that. I should really put that on silent because that just wasn't appropriate.
It wasn't, was it?
Um, to be honest, it's quite weird me even saying something like that on this because I just know that the whole thing's inappropriate.
It could have been one of them really bad ones where you opened it up and it did that woman orgasming sound. That would have just absolutely finished this podcast on a complete high on that one. I've been like, and we're
Pretty.
signing off. 20 minutes in and we're signing off now. Oh dear, these conversations. I mean, for those that are listening in, just tell your friends, tell your family, because we could certainly have absolute hysterics. The life that we've led. It is questionable, very much so.
I think when you dealt with, like we said on the first podcast, when you dealt with a hand that is a bit unfair, shall we say?
Yeah.
I think that you go out and enjoy yourself, and you realise you can't. Life's not going to get any worse.
No.
When you hit rock bottom, as we spoke about before,
Mm.
life ain't going to get much worse. You're already there, mate. You're already face planting the floor.
Oh yeah.
You've got your ass stuck 'em in the air with your trousers off, probably just to make it worse for yourself. You got your bare ass on show, and
You'd like that, wouldn't you? You
well,
perv.
that depends. Situation, of course. But I could park my bike in someone's. That could be, yeah. And you sit there and you're at that base there. You can't get any worse.
No,
You can't
no.
get any worse. So, you know what? You go out, you enjoy yourself. Well, when I say enjoy yourself, you enjoy yourself in an unusual way.
Yeah.
But I mean, we talk about the stupid scenarios that we found ourselves in later life, especially for me. After the stupidity of pining for my ex, and suddenly my brain clicked into gear, and it went, you really should stop doing that now, because if she was going to come back, she'd have come back 4.5 years ago. Why are you still here? Why are you sat at this bench at a crossroads waiting for this girl to run back and go, come on, come on? When the best thing she's probably doing is saying that to another bloke who's banging her up the arse, And it's like you've got to shift yourself up, and move yourself forward, and you have to find yourself, and you find yourself in unusual places, as I did. And I never thought I'd go into any of these places because I'm not. I always thought I was a nice, self-respecting human being. I am so not. Right? After when you try and find yourself, and you try things that you never did. The only thing I don't think I ever really tried was falling out of an airplane. But you go to places, you see people, you chat with people, you end up somehow getting your ass pinched and apologizing for it at a bar. You go through these phases of trying to find yourself, and I always found it really strange because I didn't know who I was or what I was going to become. And if you don't know who you are, how are you expecting someone to like you?
Yeah.
And it's funny because someone told me later on, they didn't tell me at the time. And I'm bringing this up because my current other half has decided that she is telling me that she had a dream. A dream. Right, here we go. This is something that probably every man's gone through, right?
Yeah.
Where you are made to feel guilty for something you haven't done in real life, but you have done in a dream, right? So I got told off. Right? I'm still not sure how this worked, but I got told off because someone confessed their love to me. And I sat there and I went, Me no comprende. I don't understand. Why is it that you're having this a go at me for your dream, right?
That's women in
And
general. I've had this happen
well,
to me.
anyway, I know exactly what happened. She's reading through my bloody messages. It wasn't a dream. It was her reading through my bloody messages, which is nothing for me to hide anyway, so it's irrelevant. But this girl turned around and said to me that she used to fancy me and she wished she'd got with me, which, as a man, that's quite impressive,
Yeah.
especially a man of my ugliness level. For a
I was
woman
going to
to
say your
suddenly,
stature.
no, and you sit there and you think, right, okay, so right, and at the time when she decided that I was a fairly decent looking chap, um, I didn't even have the self. You could have filled my level of self confidence in a matchbox. It was and still had plenty of room for many other things in there, like a whole box of matches.
Yeah.
And you know, the problem I had then is she could have given off every signal in the world. She could have stood there, right? No, she could have laid in bed with her legs open, with the fucking things that pilots have to guide the airplane, going towards
Paddles.
vaginal area, right? It paddlers, if that's what they're called, that's what they're called, right? With landing lights, and a guy saying to me, "Give me a ticket. You need to go and sit there," and I still wouldn't have got the fucking hint because I was thick as fuck, right? I've had it, as I said, that comment where I said that I got pinched on the arse and I apologised for having my arse in the way of a hand. That is actually what happened, right? In a bar, and it did happen in a bar. It did happen, and the woman looked at me like she was so confused because I'd responded this way, and I didn't know what to say. This woman, right? I mean, she was a very, very pretty girl. There was no doubts on this. She was absolutely stunning. So I knew she weren't coming to me for anything specifically to go, do you know what? You're a nice looking chap. Maybe we should go out, have a drink, maybe grab a couple of pizzas or chicken bits, and then maybe we should just go back to my house and you can Roger me silly. Which wouldn't have happened because I'd have probably shot me low by the time she took her fucking top off. Right?
Reminds me of that
Just
song,
showed a
Jizz
bit.
in Me
Yeah,
Pants.
that's it. Yeah, young, dumb, and full of cum.
Yeah.
And it's I think fucking hell. Yeah, and I'm looking at this girl now. The story about this, I'm sure, if there's somebody that was with me when this happened, because there was a fair few lads with me when this happened. We were in a particular establishment that was under the code name of Aston Daimler, and it was a place that people frequent for alcoholic beverages and some sightseeing, shall we say? And yes,
Just to clarify, I was not there. Just to clarify on that one.
no, you weren't,
No,
and
thank you.
probably wise. And
Trying to insinuate.
we don't drink.
Well, yeah. What's that got to do with the price of fish?
I didn't know we were talking about fish. There
Well,
might be the smell of that where I was, but that's
anyway,
but,
carry on.
so and as I just couldn't get the hint. I couldn't get the hint. You could have put it on a sign and stand there, and I still wouldn't have got the hint. I mean, it got to a point, right? I remember going to a nightclub in Harlow. I don't know if it's still there. Probably
Oh.
isn't.
Single
Oh,
Mumsville. Single
I don't.
Mumsville.
Do you know what? I don't know if she had a kid. I mean, I can't answer that one because I was in a nightclub, and I
Oh,
didn't
but
do
that's majority
nightclubs.
of Harlow is a lot
Well,
of
yeah,
single mums, so and
probably.
roundabouts. Just to clarify that one, hell of a lot.
It's not as bad as Milton Keynes.
Oh, no.
But my problem is that when I was getting the courage to speak to girls after I've been absolutely damaged by the one previous, before you all have a pop at me, I did things wrong too, but I took it badly. And the when I my mate Ryan, he says to me, he's in Australia now, is Ryan. He says, go and talk to these girls. And I went, no, do I have to? I haven't got the nerve to talk to some of these girls. You know what? They're that pretty. that they would just look at me and go, "You are nowhere near my league. It is, if you like football, it's like Manchester United and Maidstone, right? There's about like in 12 divisions between them, and you're not getting anywhere near that type of
I
level
would have
of
said
football.
Man United and Coventry, but that's me.
That's two divisions, right? Well, it's one division separated actually, but yeah, okay. Details, details.
Very just
And I remember going up to this girl, and you know what? I got the Dutch courage. I got this. I'd had a few drinks, and you went, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? Fucking Dr Pepper advert right there. What's the worst that can happen? I wish you could say no and slap you across the face and then kick you in the nuts.
other beverages
Um,
are available.
yes, yeah, that's a point. Yeah. And I remember going up to it, and the problem I have, or had, I don't have it so much now, is that I had like a script in front of me, and if this, you follow this script, and so this conversation, I went up to this absolutely beautiful girl, like well out of my league, like well out of the league. I was sat there. I was throwing out a rod and hoping that I was going to get a gigantic fish, and I got a well. I clearly didn't get the gigantic fish when you hear the story. It gave a tug on my rod, but we went. I went over to her. Says hi. Now the script says hi back, and she did that, and the script moved a bit. And I says, "How are you?" She says, "I'm all right. How are you?" I says, "I'm enjoying the night." She says, "She says, I says to her, pay her a compliment." Said my brain. The script in my brain said, "Pay her a compliment." So I paid her a compliment, and honestly, to God, right, she had the most amazing emerald green eyes, right? Shit you not, they shone, right? They were. She must have had contacts in, but or whatever it was. And I says to her, I says, "You have got the most beautiful emerald green eyes." Now, my script says, "Thank you very much," or "That's very kind," or "There is a possibility," outside chances it may be, that she pay me a compliment back, like "You have nice shoes," or because to be honest, mate, she ain't gonna be saying nothing about my face, right? And she
You didn't have
responded.
that beard then. That's
No,
the odd
no, I
thing.
was I was I was clean shaven then, and I actually had a lot of hair on the top of my head, unlike now. And she responded, and she said, "Don't you mean tits?" And my script stopped dead.
Well, your tits.
I went, and the problem now is that because she's mentioned tits, which I've managed to successfully mention in each of the three podcasts so far, I've looked down because she said it, and I didn't mean to do it. I just looked down, and she went, "Pervert." I went, and I eventually looked. I went, "No, no, no, no. I don't mean that." And she sat there. She's got a smile on her face. I went, "No, no. I mean," and I stupidly, I didn't mean those. I mean, don't get me wrong. I said they look lovely from where I'm standing. I said, but I actually meant your eyes. And she went, "You're not from round here, are you?" I went, "No, I ain't got an Essex accent. I'm a Londoner." She went, "Ah." Problem is round here, if you turn around and go and say she's got nice eyes, it means that they've got nice tits. Of course, dickhead here does it again, looks back down. She went, "Pervert," for the second time. I went, "I'm not being funny, love, but they do look absolutely lovely from what I can see, which isn't a great deal because you got your clothes on." And of course, that then insinuated that she had small tits, right? Which no woman wants to, admit to having on when a bloke's staring at them. And and she went, "Yeah." I went, "I don't know what to say." She went, "It's funny, I don't think you know what to say." But I went, "I think I'm going to leave it there, because honestly, I, I just came over. I just wanted you to know you had beautiful eyes, and I genuinely meant it." And what's funny about that is actually then when I found out it meant tits, I was quite happy to say that they were nice as well because they did look nice in the dress that she was wearing. And no, before anybody asked, no, nothing succeeded with that. I didn't get any further. I walked away completely and utterly bewildered. that somehow my nice compliment of a genuine article had turned into a sexual reference of me then staring at her tits.
Yeah.
For the majority of the 5 minute conversation that we had, that we conversed, and I walked away, and she probably would have continued the conversation with great glee because she was definitely playing with me.
Definitely.
And oh mate, you wouldn't believe how she could have wrapped every man round her finger in that place. She was lovely. I mean, you know what though? I mean, talking about that, when you sit there and you look at the people that you've dated in the past, I'm lucky. I'm very lucky because the one that I'm with now is actually the prettiest I've ever been with. So it's quite funny, really. I can say this
And
because
treats you as and you treat her well.
well, she tries to treat me well. I do need to be put in line every now and then. I'm waiting for her to break through that door and go, "What are you talking about now, you daft old fucktard?" But it's it's
She would
very
if this was live rather than a podcast. She probably would have been straight in.
no, I don't know. She likes to stay out of the limelight, which is quite funny because so do I. But
Don't lie. You're an international superstar now. You're loving it.
fucking hell, I haven't had any extra followers on it, but my Instagram suddenly has a woman that now wants to have sex with me, right?
Yeah, it's a bit strange on that one.
Yeah, well, it's not like she's been listening. She looks like she's from flipping Latin America. But look at her, now she's local to me,
Well,
because I'm certainly not in Latin America here. So yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, I've got to admit that Harlow experience did open my eyes up. I wasn't aware of how different it was. Coming out of a long-term relationship as I was in then, to suddenly, I mean, the first time I ever met someone online from the online dating, I think I must have been the longest serving member on plentyoffish.com that never actually got a fucking date.
And it's not free anymore. I think it was lucky it was free then, wasn't it? I think as well.
It was free, but there were bits that you could pay for. But it was. Well, you know what? Online dating, what a mess that is. I actually spoke to her. I felt sorry for this girl because I was bored and I ended up talking to her. I was talking about this story to somebody else actually when I was at the barber's. And suddenly in this conversation, this woman lived somewhere near Bracknell when I was in Sheffield, so it was a fair distance. And thank fuck there was, because she genuinely come at me and went, "You know what? You're going to come and see me." And I'm like, "I'm really not, love, because you're not my type at all." And that's me being really polite about it.
But
And
then,
she basically,
yeah, but I mean, you knew what your type was, and you always had your mindset on what your perfect woman was, and you found what is your place now, what you would call your home, your person, and it might have taken you a long time, but you found it.
yeah, I agree with that. But I wouldn't say that based on the type I had then that my current partner matches that, because basically my type was my ex at the time. and that was, and this bird was not like my ex. I think I was bored, and I decided to, it was one of the very rare times I actually got a message from an actual lady that wasn't either Russian that you had to pay for, or was from a Thai person, looking for a visa to get into this country. And
Or
this one was
somebody from Milton Keynes.
Well, I don't want 6 fingers or 6 toes. No.
No.
The
Or 6 kids. Well, 6 kids from 6 different fathers.
Well, I don't know if all Milton Keynes ladies are like that, but they are in Norwich.
Well,
But
I've never really experienced that, I'm afraid.
on a serious note, you just lost my train of thought there. That was it. Ugly woman from Bracknell. And she generally sat there and had this idea that she was either going to come to me and physically rape me, or I was going to go to her and be physically raped. And that was something that, don't get me wrong, if she was like semi-decent. I might have accidentally put a blindfold on her or something, or a bag over her head. But it was no, but she was incredibly forward, and I couldn't grasp the fact that she was sat there and saying, we're going to get it on and you're going to enjoy it. No, I'm really fucking not, because I couldn't get a semi on with your face. So, no, not unless you had about 3 paper bags on your head. Listen, I'm no looker, right? I admit that. But no, she's a 3-bagger, mate, and I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have been able to deal with that. Surely, if you actually had, I mean, obviously, I don't know if you've actually, well, you've just pointed out that Plenty of Fish isn't free anymore, which is a real shame, because neither was Smooch was free at the time, but I don't even know if that's still
I don't
going.
remember Smooch, I'm afraid.
Oh, yeah, well, I've been, what have I've been on a fair few. And yeah, what have you had any like stated stories that just went completely wrong?
No, well, I mean, none that have gone from bad dating stories. I think I've just had bad dating generally experienced. I think it's what had gone good at the beginning just went downhill very, very quickly, or you somebody that you thought you knew very well start seeing that person behind your back while you're away, but then denies it. So it's it's one of them things that sort of knocks your confidence when that happens. But I mean, there's probably one ex that I'm good friends with, real good friends, and that's how it would be for many, many years. You probably remember which was Joe over in Aylesbury.
Yes, that
Um,
name rings a bell, actually.
yeah, but
I,
we're still good friends, and she's been through a lot, like with ex-partners after we split up, and I've always been there to listen, and it would never progress any further than that now, because we're just too good of friends, you know.
isn't that the
But
idea of
no, I
having
mean
with a
it's
partner?
hmm?
Isn't that the idea of having with a partner?
Yeah, but I mean no, I mean I think I've had one where their picture didn't look like what it was online, and I got there and I spotted them before they spotted me, and I was just like, oh dear. And I got myself out of that situation very, very quickly. I was, I'm not very well. I'm I had to quickly phone her up and say, I'm not really feeling any well. So I had to obviously run into the gents' toilets to make this phone call, to get out of it. So that was quite an interesting one. So especially when you travel a distance to see them, and it's just like, oh, hang on a second, it's not the most great experience. So yeah, I've got out that one. No, I suppose I was probably more of a bit of a randy dog, really. I mean, I know that you set me up with somebody that didn't work very well.
Did I?
Yeah, somebody from Sheffield. We spoke about it previous podcast.
Oh, right, okay. Well,
Yeah,
hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. There was some right stories about that, you little floozy. So don't you?
go on then.
I don't know if they're actually true, but
Go on.
I never confirmed this. But I did hear that you had a right thing for the girl's mate instead of the girl,
Yeah, that's true.
and the problem was that the girl's mate was with a fella.
Yeah,
I don't remember then. I don't remember her name.
I
I
can't remember.
probably could have. I probably could if I dug deep in the brain cells. Because I'm still trying to remember that girl you spoke about at the start of this, where you spoke about the downhill. I can remember her face. That's how bad it is. I remember her face. I don't
Janine.
remember. That's it. That's it. That was her name. I knew it began with J.
Yeah,
I knew it began with J.
she's
Um,
from Essex as well.
oh, there's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Um,
But
yeah.
no, say yeah, the obviously, saying I liked her friend, that was after we um, split up, even though really we wasn't together. It was a weird relationship. She wasn't the sort of touchy-feely person, but general gist of it is she was well, she was never ever going to be ready for a relationship because she had a boyfriend who died. Quite tragic. What
Yeah, it was
happened?
shit.
I mean,
It was shit.
and yeah, but she was never one for dating, and it wasn't meant to be. I mean, she used to ask me to come and stay over, but I'd have to sleep on a sleeping bag next to her bed, and that's not a relationship. It's like having your best mate round for sleepover.
Shaz.
Shaz, that's the one. Yeah, but the one we're talking about, obviously, who slept on the floor was
I know.
yeah, yeah,
I just the name just clicked in my head as the brain cells with somebody in the background was working in the background to work out what that was. Yeah. And do you know what? Do you know what? I've never been in that position.
no,
No, no, I've never been in that position to. Oh, no, that's a lie. Actually, no, that's a lie. No, I'll go with that. When you talk about being with somebody, and they're not treating you like another arm.
yeah,
I met a girl online, and a part of me was wrong for this. It was wrong, and I apologise for this because it's right that I apologise. I'd lost, obviously, my view at the time was that I'd lost my treasured other half, as it was at the time, and I lost my daughter. And I went through a period, and I was on the online day. This was on Smooch. This is why I remembered Smooch. And I met this girl, and I didn't know she had a daughter until she came on the first date, which was, I thought, okay, fair enough. If you can't get childcare, and that's, look, shit happens. Let's just make the best of it. And this girl, who is still lovely as a person, she really is. And she's in a relationship now with somebody, and that's fantastic. And her kid was absolutely lovely, and she was about the same age as my eldest at the time. In fact, I've got a picture of the pair of them, and we used to do days where my eldest would come out with us to do bits and pieces. But she was a big church goer, which is fine. I have nothing against that. It's not my thing. But I'm not going to slate anyone that goes to a religious house. And I remember at the time, that there was, not that I was looking to get my leg over or anything, but that to me was part of the relationship. And she wouldn't do that until she got married, which is something I accepted, and I was willing to go with. But it was how she treated me, and she continued to treat me that way, and she never came to my area. I always had to go to her, and I thought, well, this isn't really right, is it? It's not for me, this. And it was one of the hardest things I had to do, because I weren't, it wasn't going to work. I think we both knew that, but neither one of us wanted to do it because we'd be both back where we were, which is in a really, really shit place. And yeah, and I did it because it then looked like I'd got a replacement family for the one that I'd lost, which is a completely wrong thing to do, and very, very, very stupid. And it was yeah, that was hard. For that, actually, I went out with her to Chessington, and I took
I remember seeing her once, actually. Yeah.
I don't think you ever met her. Nobody really met her.
Oh, I did.
You might have seen pictures. You might have seen pictures online at the time. But yeah, we had a day out, and of course, what does my eldest do? She goes and reports on me to her mother, and then she didn't mean it. It's just what kids do.
Yeah.
Oh, been out with daddy and this girl, and she has a daughter, and yada 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 yada. But I got shouted at for going out with a friend with a child and ours. And it was ours. It was mine and my ex's,
Yeah.
obviously. But and I got shouted at for that, and I went, I can't really see why I'm being shouted at. Aren't you the one shagging somebody else at the moment? So why are you worried about me? But yeah, it was. Yeah, I got, and of course, my eldest really did drop me in the crap with that. But yeah, yes, it's that was a shame. That was a shame because the situation could have been a lot better.
Mm.
But
Oh
yeah, I
yeah.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying with that.
Yeah, I mean, say we won't be the only two that it's happened to. I mean, it's happened to, not just men, but to women as well. There's women that think, oh, they found the bloke, and it doesn't work out. So it works on both both sides. So it's not just always the guy that always gets the shit end of the deal. It's the other way around as well.
I don't
You've got
know.
to
It
find.
always seems to feel that way.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, it does take a while before you find what they say is your person or your home, your safe place. It's taken me a long while, and I found my person. Be it's gone through a bit of a rocky patch, in the short time that we've been together, but we're working things through, and that's the main thing. So, and she's really stuck by me, and she's got me through a lot over the last sort of 5 months or so. Because I was going down quite a dark path, and I was doing the counselling, which is now finished. I finished my last counselling session last week, and was it? Yeah, last week. No, sorry, it was this week. I do apologise. I've lost track of days. So yeah, it's sort of that's all finished. I've still got like telephone appointments and stuff like that. And as I say, anybody that's sort of questioning about going for counselling and worrying, is it going to be bad? Are they very judgmental? They're far from it. They're purely there to listen, and sort of ask you a question, and you answer it how you want to answer it. Don't feel that they're ever going to put words in your mouth and stuff like that, because it's far from it. So, if you ever need to talk to somebody, there are counsellors out there that will listen to you, and then, as I say, they're not judgmental. So never be afraid of that. So that's one point I will put across. But getting back to the story, as I say, she's helping me. She's steering me in the right direction, because I did hit a very low bottom, as you know. I mean, I'm gonna put it out there. I'm not, I'm never gonna sugarcoat anything, and I'm not gonna to hide anything, because it's better if you talk about it. But obviously, when my marriage ended, I didn't want to believe that it was ending, and I tried to take what was the easiest way out. To sort of think, oh, this is not true. I'll just do this, and everything can be fine. And trying to take your life is not the way out. It's far from it. So don't ever feel that taking your life is the answer, because it's not. Just stop, think of what you're doing, talk to somebody. That's what I'd say. Yeah, as I say, it's she's come into my life as this new woman, and she's on holiday at the minute, enjoying a lap of luxury in Egypt. I wish I was out there about now, because it's bloody hot out there and it's absolutely miserable and cold here. But rather than deviate, as I say, she's always checking up. I mean, us guys and women as well, we have, people call it different things. I call it what I call a blue day, which is a day where you just don't want to talk to anyone. You just want to be your own, just in your own little space, and just
Watch
let the
porn.
world go. No, I don't watch porn. Um,
Well, it's a blue day. You just said it was a blue
well,
day.
it's not that kind of blue day. And those that are sort of a younger age probably wouldn't understand blue. If you said, "Oh, I'm going to go and watch a bluey," they're going to think, oh, you're watching that kids' TV program. So it doesn't have the same sound to it anymore, does it? Really?
Really, no,
So
no.
if you say to anyone that's in their 20s, I'm going to go and watch a Bluey, they're going to think you're watching an Australian kids cartoon when you're clearly not. So yeah, Blue Day is a low day. Some people call it an off day. Some call it just not being yourself. And that's I have them days, and as I say, I just sit down in a room and just sort of just reflect. And if you feel that reflecting on your own is hard, as I say, just give a friend a call, a family member, or anything, and just say, look, this is what's bothering me today. They'll probably tell you you're being silly, which you probably are, but if you talk to somebody and they go, oh no, you did right by phoning and so forth. But as I say, she's helping me get through these stages, and we've got a lot in common. She's put a smile back on my face that I've not had in a very long time. And I'm sure you've probably seen that smile in a few times,
Hmm.
Daniel, that I've not had in quite a lot of years.
Hmm.
And it's nice when somebody can put a smile back on your face. And she's done that for me, and I appreciate that. And as I say, it was a bit of a rocky start, but she stuck by me and everything like that. She's like, right, okay, this is what you need to do. This is go get the help you need. And she's like, I'll be there. I'll listen to you, and we'll work through this. And and eventually everything could get back on track. And it's taken its time. It's not something that can be done overnight. And it's, let's say, some women, and not just women but men, and the opposite, if it was the roles were reversed, would do the same, or some wouldn't. So as I say, she's done a lot for me, and I appreciate that. So I mean, I'm going to see her. She's back this week, I think, from Egypt, but I'm going to see her next week. And I go through your favourite place actually to get there. He's looking very confused.
I didn't realise I had a favourite place. Go on.
Yeah, Accrington.
Who are they?
Exactly. Again, there'll be some people going, "What?" So,
A milk advert.
if you're from our age gap,
You meant to
you'd
say
understand it.
Stanley. You were
Accrington
meant to say,
Stanley. Oh,
Accrington.
Accrington
If I grow
Stanley.
up, I can play for Accrington Stanley.
Stanley.
Who
Who are
are
they?
they?
Exactly. But yeah, so if you're from our age range, you'd understand that advert. I mean, I only had to send you a picture of the train station of Accrington. You went, who are they? So you
Yeah.
knew straight away. So, but no, as I say, she's an absolutely amazing woman, and I'm thankful that that I found her. Same as you found your other half, and how she makes you feel. And obviously I can see the bond that you two have got through everything you've been through over the last few years. Not relationship wise, but family and friends and stuff like that. What you've had to deal with, and you've been that supporting rock for each other. I mean, she supported you through your business, and helped you out, and obviously you supported her through a lot of stuff that she's gone through. So that bond is there. And as I say, that's she's doing that for
Oh,
me.
mate,
So
I kid you not. She's paid her dues for me. The scenario of that is, what they say behind every successful man is a woman,
mhm.
and they're very true with that. The the things that she's had to witness me go through, especially with the eldest daughter and the situations with the ex, and then obviously the business and even my own family, which, as I've said previously, I don't think I got the best start, and I don't think a lot of people got the best start.
No.
Probably those that are listening to this have probably not had the best start either, but you just make the best of a bad hand.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just certainly feel that she's paid her dues with me. She's had issues. I've tried to support her, but that doesn't mean I've been very successful. But it's true. What you say, that the person you eventually get with, you be with, they become your best friend,
Yeah.
which is fantastic for me because I've got a best friend with Ted. So, which I have access to. So, well,
And
when
if you
she
get
allows
bored, you've
it.
always got your own.
Well, that's it,
Exactly.
and it feels like no. On a serious note, it's very you should count yourself like if you find someone that they might not be the best looker in somebody else's eyes, but do you know what? If they look the best to you, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. It doesn't
What's
matter what they
inside?
think, and then obviously you got their personality, and looks fade over time, but personality doesn't.
No.
And it's you might you might find that the guy that you girls get with, or the girl that you guys get with, might not be the best looking girl that everybody thinks. I mean, look at this. I mean, how many people said that they wanted to shag Britney Spears, for example? There was a lot out there that didn't. But you imagine being the other half of that, knowing that there was that many men that wanted to fucking get their cock up Britney's front end.
Yeah.
And that's got to be difficult, to date someone like. Mind you, I don't know what it'd be like to date a page three model, knowing that the world has seen her tits and before you have.
Well,
Although you've probably already seen them in the sun, which doesn't do that anymore.
no, I'm just trying to find something that's. Bear with
Well,
me.
you're trying to
Keep
find a
going.
page three model.
No. I'm just trying to find something that.
I'd say it's page3.com if you're interested.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not the same, though, is it? So, but keep
I
going.
wouldn't know. No, say if you find that person that you gel with and you think, yeah, this is awesome, it's so worth it. It's so worth it. If you get on with them, they become your best friend, and that is such a big thing. You're not going to agree with everything.
No,
You're going to argue. Life does that.
it does. Yeah.
You know what? And the real scenario about it all is that your friends will eventually slowly dwindle away because
Yeah.
they get with their partners, and that's not to say they don't like you anymore. It's just what life does, doesn't it?
It
You
does.
all
Yeah.
drift apart, and suddenly you're ending up with this lovely looking lady that you think is absolutely wonderful, and then suddenly out of nowhere you decide to have children.
Well, it ain't gonna happen with me now, and that stage is gone, isn't it? So, but yeah.
I'd like to say mine's gone as well, but I've known my luck. I'll just produce another girl.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But
I'm
that's
actually thinking about putting myself on eBay just because I've got a load of pink swimmers, and they're
just a
swimmers, not
few.
swingers. Before you fucking say it, right?
I have to do this, but yeah.
Why is that?
The other half.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a very clear picture, mate. I'm sorry.
No.
I just thought you were showing me a garment from M&S.
No, hang on. Yeah.
For those that are on live stream, right? I've seen it brighten up now.
Yeah.
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 For those that are not on, well, we don't even have live stream, so I don't know why I'm saying those that are not on live stream because there isn't a live stream.
No, there isn't.
And thankfully so, because I'm not in the right attire for this. It's got to be better than the dressing gown
Yeah. Yeah.
that I had before. But yeah, yes. So for reference, I've actually I'm off topic now.
Have I distracted you slightly?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was only looking upwards, by the way.
Good choice of words there.
Thank you.
That's all right.
There is we're now, as I say, we've done the socials. We're on. No need to sit there trying to say to yourself, do you want to feed me anymore, right? We've got the socials up and running, so obviously everybody's known that we're on X at Ginger's Man Club.
Yeah.
We have got a Facebook page that Adam can't access because he's decided to throw Facebook away.
Yeah.
So there's no point me doing anything with that. We'll probably might have to do some live content for a YouTube channel or something like that for a giggle.
Yeah, I'll be a bit more prepared for that one. I think you will as well.
Yeah. So we'll see what we're going to do on the old socials. I don't think we can do anything on Instagram. We'll have to have one of them. We'll have to have one of those link trees that doesn't sell ourselves on OnlyFans.
sitting there doing that, giving it some of that
Yeah,
for
that's
the
it.
nipple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rubbing the left nipple. Yeah, or
Oh
you're
dear.
right in this case.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was my right actually. Yes, you're
It
right.
was your right. Yeah.
Yeah. See, you do know your left from your right.
Only
You did
just.
learn something at school.
I had to put my hands out like that. Look, there's an owl. Yeah, yeah. I mean, she's got. I mean, while we've been having this conversation on Tuesday, she's been watching that Traitors. Have you watched that?
I've seen bits of it, but I've never actually watched it properly.
Well, that killed that off then because I know
Yeah.
fuck all about it.
No, nor do I. So there's that one. But I mean, we're definitely going to get the show on an even number because for show timings, because I think we just sort of said, oh yeah, we'll do an hour, and then it went an hour and 50 minutes, and so it's we're at an hour and 20 minutes almost. And I think it's a bit of a strange one this episode. It's sort of a complete contrast of the other two shows.
Yeah, it's actually been semi-serious.
It is. We have got some funny stories, questionable funny stories, but we have got funny stories over the years. But I mean, we're sort of breaking you in gently. Well,
Are we?
so well, to a point, I think is the question. But
Shit,
it's
I
sort
bet
of.
I'm keeping us and Dana to myself for at least another week and a half.
I mean, we will be getting to a bit more sort of topical debates, probably sort of by the fourth, fifth episode, which is obviously the next one.
I was going to say that's the next one. Can you count?
Yeah. Questionable again on that front.
I think what we got to do is
Well,
if
you
you're
did
going to
your
do
Fred
topical,
impression there from
right,
Coronation. I think.
I say that. I
That's
say it.
fair.
Right, that's fog on, leg on. I know.
Yeah.
Right. I think what we've got to do here is that you've got to turn it. If you want to do a topical debate, you've got to bring somebody in. You've got to bring somebody in.
I
Right.
think, well, we know somebody that we'd want to bring in, but it could be a questionable topic situation with that person.
It was interesting because I was speaking to one of the young lads I know, and he's gone through a shitty breakup, like shitty breakup, and looks like he's been left in debt of 5 figures because she decided to, and I know how that feels because I had that as well.
Yep, been there, done that.
And I think that he needs to be. He needs to sit there and get things off his chest that he's got on his mind. Like, that was really, let's be fair, that was the idea of this, was to sit there. We might only have about 3 listeners, but the idea of it was to show to other people, yes, you know what, you're not the only one. And that's such a big thing.
Yeah.
To realise it isn't just you. There are other people going through very similar issues, not obviously carbon copies, but to go through very, very similar issues that really are not spoken about, and that's so important. I mean, look, if you're a man, there's plenty of things on sport, there's plenty of things on women, there's plenty of things on, well, lots of things that men like, but there was nothing out there to say in the world, I'm going through some shit, and we said this before, that we're from a generation where you're told to man up, as we keep hearing, and then suddenly out of nowhere you're expected to now be able to talk and be able to say how you feel. Well, the problem is with being a man and doing that is generally seen as a bad thing, especially in the way that Keir Starmer's work in the nation right now. If you say anything that doesn't agree with the left-wing policies, then you're going to be thrown in jail.
Yeah.
And it's so important to talk about how you feel, talk about how you can make things better. And you know what? It's okay to get shit wrong.
Yeah.
Because if you get shit wrong, you know that you don't have to do that again. And you know what? There's a real piece of advice I'll put out here. It's always better to regret the things that you've done than regret the ones that you haven't.
No. I mean, to put into context, right? I was reading up about
Fuck
this.
me, I didn't realise that I needed any context on that. Sorry.
Right. So no, saying about men and stuff now. Obviously, we grew up in a time where it was like man up, as where now it's a little bit different. Sorry to put a bit of a downer on this one, but this is, these are figures that I think people need to hear, and it is quite hard hitting. So they said the suicide rate among males in 2022 was approximately 4 times higher than the rate among females. Males make up 50% of the population, but nearly 80% of suicides. So there's just some figures there to sort of think about. It's sort of, well, for England and Wales, so it works out 17.4 deaths per 100,000. That was in 2023, and that was from 16.4 deaths per 100,000 in 2022. So people think just going for the easy way out, but don't. Let's try and bring them figures down. That's from somebody that's been there, not once, a couple of times, that have been close to that being one of those statistics. Let's bring that figure down, because it is a number we need to bring down. And if this podcast can help reduce that by 2, possibly 3 suicide attempts, that we can, somebody can listen to us and sort of go, actually, them two, as much as they sound like a right pair of silly bastards, they've got a point. And if somebody messaged in tomorrow and said, I listened to your show, and I was contemplating it, and after listening to you two, I've decided, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pick myself up, and that would be, I'd be happy. Even if if we didn't do any shows after that, if I knew that that's done, changed somebody's life, that's more than enough gratification I need. Or if 5 men message and say, what, you're right, it would be a lot better. So don't be a statistic. If you want to message us on our socials, everything will be anonymous, and we can, if you've got a story that you want to tell us and you want to remain anonymous, just say so, and we won't mention your name, but we'll explain your story and what's changed for you, and so we can tell your story if you're afraid to.
It can't be any much worse than mine. So you've got a fucking bottom level to reach here, and if you've gone to my level, you really have hit the barrel. No, it's important. It's so important to talk and talk to your mate. If you can't talk to your mate, you pick up the phone and speak to those people. It's so important. It's so important. As a man, as a man myself, I am obviously a man. Although in the current world that we're living in, I could identify as anything I like. But it's so difficult. It is so difficult because we're of the age where we're the late to the early millennials.
Yeah.
That we've seen the difference between the generations before us and the generations after us. We're the ones that were brought up with the old style values but understand new technology. Whereas the next generation don't understand what values are in general, because if they did, they would treat people better. And it's so important to reach out, speak to somebody, whoever it may be. Just do it, because it's so important. It's so important. But
yeah, I mean, it's a shame that there's not enough out there to sort of say to people, look, come and talk to us. I mean, do you remember years ago when we was kids?
First.
Yeah, I mean, years ago when drugs and that was a big thing. Do you remember the old Talk to Frank adverts? You sort of just nodding generally there, are you?
Yeah, I do remember Talk to Frank.
So, but there's nothing like that, pushing for, if you're feeling down, talk to, Andy's Man Club, talk to, Samaritans. It's not really pushed out there in the mainstream media as much as it should, as much as Talk to Frank was, it was basically, it was always pushed at school and at secondary school, anyone that's got drug issues or thinking about drugs, look, talk to Frank, and that it was always a big thing, growing up, but there was never, as say, when we was at school, there was never sort of any sort of teachers that would say, right, if anyone's having mental health issues or anything like that, because it wasn't talked about in school when we was in school. As where now secondary schools are starting to talk about it, and so are some of the primary schools. I know my eldest, they've recently been talking about mental health, and is it is it something kids of 8 and 9 years old should be talking about in school? Yes and no, because if they've got problems, yeah, talk about it, but I don't think it should go too in depth because it could put a lot of pressure on a kid. And I mean, I don't know where your views are on that, Daniel, um, or anybody else, that's listening in, how you feel about, kids of 8, 9, 10, having to, learning about mental health and stuff like that. Is it too much for them too soon? But then, it's that age-old question, when is too young to talk to kids about sex education? So it's that boundary, where do you talk about sex education? Where do you talk about mental health? And body changing and stuff like that. So, and obviously, some of the schools are even talking about, gender neutral and about genders. Again, at that age, I think it's a bit too early, and call me old fashioned. I mean, I don't think it's anything that should be spoke about in school about genders and stuff like that. But that's a political thing that could be for another episode, to be fair, because if I get on that one, that's a rant I could probably be on for a very long time. I don't want to keep you in there for that long. But, talking about mental health, it's nice to know that they are talking about it, but is it too young? What is the best age for kids to start talking about mental health? I don't know what your views are, Daniel, on that one.
It's a difficult one. I think the fact that children mature at different ages
Mm.
doesn't help. I think that you look at, like, for example, if you have a situation in your own household where your children are expected to be more responsible than looking at somebody else. I mean, for example, young carers is a perfect example of that. If you've got a child that's looking after their parent for whatever reason it may be, right?
Mhm.
You you that child is going to have a more adult understanding of certain views of life than another kid that's still sat there playing with a Thomas Train set.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that kid playing with a Thomas Train set. What I am saying is that their mind hasn't got or got to an area that that child that's obviously becoming a young carer for their parent has got. So it's a real difficult one. And I don't think there's a perfect time for anything, to be honest. I think that you've got to look at the scenario, you've got to look at the person, but you can't do that at school. You've got a bunch of 30 kids, or 34 as the case may be now, right? You've got 34 kids in one school level that are all at different steps in their lives.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna, for God's sake, they're probably still laughing at the word boobies. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
even you laughed then.
Well, we did it
But
on calculators, didn't we? Boobies.
yeah, we did, yeah. And boobless. A
Yeah.
girl of 13 of a boobs out of 84, though she had 45. Doctor said, oh, gave her 2 tablets, she timed it by 4, and she ended up boobless. But you look at that and you go, there are some kids in that class that are going to be really, really, really advanced.
Yeah.
And there are going to be some kids that are just not that way. But you're expecting all of them at once to be able to grasp the fact that a man has a penis and a woman has a vagina. Right? That's really difficult to comprehend.
Yeah.
Right? Even though you're half of it you're okay with because that's what you've got. And then to understand what they're going to do with that.
Yeah.
There are some kids that can take that on board and go, do you know what? I don't think I'm going to try that just yet. But there'll be another set of kids going, oh, that sounds like fun. What do we do?
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a perfect time. As much as I'd love to say they shouldn't know it until they're about 13, there are kids that are going to. And you think about how freely available is that information.
Well,
And
it's there, isn't it? Going back to the internet, everything's there. Everything about sex and that you want to know is readily available.
yeah, all
Every
you got
kid's
to,
got a mobile phone now, and
yeah, it's so difficult for people especially parents,
Yeah.
to protect their children from the way. I mean, don't get me wrong, we could really do with some more content restriction. But if a kid is going to want to see a naked woman or a naked man,
Mm.
they don't have to look very far. It's not difficult to get it. I mean, you know, as much as we, as much as you say, when you think of a naked person, you think of modeling. Just look at modeling.
Yeah.
If you've got the different, I mean, this is a funny age-old question: the difference between erotica and porn.
Yeah.
Right. If you type in something like naked woman, they're going to show you pictures of a naked woman that's not in a pornographic way.
Yeah.
And that's going to be available. And that person's going to see that.
Yeah.
That child is going to see that, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so many barriers you can put in the way. But I think if it's, I've got my children there, they've got tablets, and I've content restricted as much as I can.
Mm.
But will it stop them if they want to look for it? No.
But I mean, look what's on the telly, just in TV programs. So
listen to the radio. Listen to the radio at songs nowadays,
Yeah.
where every other word is F or fuck. Sorry, I can say it on here.
Yeah.
Every other word is fuck. Every other word is shit, fuck. I mean, look, they turned around. They had a moan about a song not long ago that was about a bloke singing about a woman, and then they go and put that it's okay to have another girl saying "lick my fanny, lick my legs,
Oh yeah,
fuck me hard," and and you're like, hey, you allow that, but not that. It's just political correctness gone fucking mad, mate. Do as you will, but I just sit there and I go, okay, mate, whatever.
Yeah, as I say, it's the world that we're growing up into now, and if I'm honest, it's quite a scary place now. And I thought it was scary when we was growing up, but I think it's getting scarier. But I think on that note, we've had the pleasure of entertaining you with many more stories and political views. If you do want to get in touch with us, or you want to, as I say, you want to remain anonymous and you've got a story you want to tell or you want us to tell it, you can get in touch with us on our Twitter/X at Ginger's Man Club. If I got that one right this time. And yeah, just put your story on there, and yeah, thank you for listening.
Private message, obviously you can do it through the socials on Facebook as well, that Dad can't access because he's banned himself. And obviously, if you want to get in contact with us, do so. Anything that you want to major anonymous, do so. It's important. If you want to reach out to us, do so. Socials are there. Email gingersmanclub@gmail.com. If you really, really, really want to put something together and you can't be bothered to use socials like Adam,
dig there how many more times.
So yeah, it's important. Don't forget, if you do need to reach out. We've both got access to the emails, I think.
Yeah. Well, you have.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I have. Yeah. I know I have. But I think
I'm sure
you
you'll
have as well.
forward it. Yeah, you'll forward it on to me. But yes, thank you for listening in again to the third episode. Be it called Three's a Crowd, but it clearly isn't. We'd have a third person here, and you wouldn't be pushed to one side, not in this way. But thank you once again, and we look forward to entertaining you again next week here on the Ginger's Man Club. And it's a good night from him.
And it's good night from me. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to us at Ginger's Man Club. Remember, you can interact with us on all the socials. Next week, we have a special guest in Craig joining us to tell us the stories, gaffes, and dealings with life and memories. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.